Hi guys, Cheapskate video here. I've had a few questions, a reasonable number, about how I modified my Brother ql-500 printer to accept continuous paper. That wasn't made by Brother. Well, let me just make a quick explanation of how this thing works. Basically, inside the printer is a small optical sensor, and that optical sensor needs to see this black and white pattern. Now, this isn't to keep you from using other people's stock. What this is, because this is a label printer, and you'll see this on pretty much anything that prints out on fixed media like this, that is a fixed size. These are basically location marks. You'll see these on your ATM receipts. Basically, it says, okay, here's the start of the label, here's the end of the label. On continuous feed, though, it's just a solid pattern, and that lets the printer know that there is, in fact, stock in the printer. Okay. Now, if it doesn't see that, it stops because it thinks, oh, gee, there's nothing in there, and I'm not going to burn up my thermal print head just printing on nothing. So what we got to do is we got to get that optical sensor to see this pattern all the time, even when there's nothing in it. Yeah, you can burn up your printer this way. Just make sure to always keep something in it. This is all I have left. But, yeah. The reason I have that is because you're going to probably want the carrier, because this carrier has these little holes in it. Now, if you're breaking out a soldering iron, if you know how to solder, you can solder the switches that it presses down, because in the base, I'll show you this in a minute, there's little pegs, and that tells the printer what kind of stock it has loaded. So you're going to want one from continuous roll. I'll try and get a picture of this. Let's see. Actually, I could probably tell you right now. When there's a little switch assembly, and this pushes down the, if you're looking down into the printer from the front, it is pushing down all but the first and third from the back on the right hand side. So if you've already got one of these for continuous roll, then that's good. If you don't, then you should probably pick up at least one. Another company that sells it is called Doberman. I don't know their website address. Anyways, let me show you the inside of the printer. I've already taken mine apart. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver to do this. Let me see if I can move the camera into a position where you'll be able to see this. And the microphone. Alright, so here's the side of the printer. This is the part that we want to get at right here. Now, up in here is where the optical sensor normally lies. So you got to take this off. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 screws. Okay, I've already taken this off because it is kind of fiddly, and it comes out. Now, what you got to do is inside here, where the sensor is, there's a small 4-ribbon cable, or there's a small cable. It's a ribbon cable. It's got 4 conductors. Anyways, it sits up in here. You got to get that out of there. Set this off to the side. I've already got mine out. You got to get this off, because what you got to do, I'll go ahead and unplug this sensor from the board, which you'll probably end up doing. It's a small one. Just make sure you remember the orientation and plug it back in when you put it all together. What I've done here is this gear I have painted half black, half white, and the sensor, yeah, it's got other things holding it in, actually is sitting right here in a little notch. I don't know if you can see that. I basically dremeled out a small notch and glued the sensor in there. So, and I remember I had to fiddle with the alignment, but basically, if you're looking at it from the side, yeah, the sensor is like right there on the edge, and it basically looks at the top part of this gear. Now what that'll do is, as that gear is spinning around, it's going to feed that black and white pattern right into that sensor. So that's basically all you have to do. I realize this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm just going to cut it short here. But that's basically all you need to do is relocate this stupid little sensor down so it looks at that wheel, and just paint that wheel with that pattern. I tried a few before I got it right. This seems to be the one that works. You might have to fiddle with it a bit, so maybe do it with a whiteboard marker or something first. But that's where you need it. You might have to raise or lower this sensor just a little bit because it can be fiddly. And make sure that you always, in the software, tell it that it is using continuous feed paper. Downside is you won't be able to print on labels anymore. Upside is you can use it as a receipt printer, and if you're good with the API, then that shouldn't be a problem with you. If you don't know what an API is, then it's not something you're going to have to worry about. For those who are curious, application programming interface. So you can write your own software for this. Anyways, so that's basically it. Just try not to break it too bad. But that's it. Have a good day.